कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srilaprabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Srilaprabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter text number 48. स वै महाभागवतो महात्मा महानुभावो महतां महिष्टः प्रवृद्धभक्त्या हि अनुभाविताशये निवेश्य वैकुण्ठमिमं विहास्यति स वै महाभागवतो महात्मा महानुभावो महतां महिष्टः प्रवृद्धभक्त्या हि अनुभाविताशये निवेश्य वैकुण्ठमिमं विहास्यति स वै महाभागवतो महात्मा महानुभावो महतां महिष्टः प्रवृद्धभक्त्या हि अनुभाविताशये निवेश्य वैकुण्ठमिमं विहास्यति स वै महाभागवतो महात्मा word meaning saha, he, by, certainly, Mahabhagavataha, the topmost devotee, Mahatma, expanded intelligence, Maha Anubhavaha, expanded influence. Shri radhekrishnaworld Shri Nitai Gauranga ki. Mahatam, of the great souls, Mayishtaha, the greatest, Pravruddha, well matured, Bhaktya, by devotional service, he certainly, Anubhavita, being situated in the Anubhava stage of ecstasy, Ashaye, in the mind, Niveshya, entering, Vaikuntam, in the spiritual sky, Imam, this material world, Vihasyati, will quit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srilaprabhupada. Translation. The topmost devotee of the Lord will have expanded intelligence and expanded influence and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to mature devotional service, he will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world. Please repeat the translation. The topmost devotee of the Lord will have expanded intelligence and expanded influence and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to mature devotional service, he will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world. Purport. There are 3 stages of transcendental development in devotional service, which are technically called Stahi Bhava, Anubhava, and Mahabhava. Continual perfect love of Godhead is called Stahi Bhava. And when it is performed in a particular type of transcendental relationship, it is called Anubhava. But the stage of Mahabhava is visible amongst the personal pleasure potential energies of the Lord. It is understood that the grandson of Diti, namely Prahlad Maharaj, would constantly meditate on the Lord and reiterate his activities. Because he would constantly remain in meditation, he would easily transfer himself to the spiritual world after quitting his material body. Such meditation is still more conveniently performed by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. This is especially recommended in this age of Kali. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurubhe Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tavai Mahabhagavato Mahatma Mahanubhavo Mahatam Mayishtaha Pravriddha Bhaktya hi Anubhavitashaye Niveshya Vaikuntamimam Vihasyati. That topmost devotee of the Lord will have expanded intelligence and expanded influence and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to mature devotional service, he will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world. So here, Kashyapa is telling Diti the glories of the great personality, the great devotee of Lord Vishnu, Prahlad Maharaj. The divine qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. And very glorifying words Kashyapa is using here. Mahatam Mayishtaha. Mahanubhavo Mahatam Mayishtaha. He will become the greatest of the great souls. So this is real honor. To be talked about like this is really great honor. In the material world, people anchor after very mundane honor. Everybody wants to be honored in this material world. Everybody wants to be recognized. But if really somebody wants to be recognized and honored, then this is the summit of honor that one can achieve, what is being mentioned here. The summit of honor. It's like when you want to climb when you go to climb Mount Everest, your mountaineering is complete when you reach the summit of the Mount Everest. If you reach even 100 kilo, if you're not able to reach the topmost point of Mount Everest and you reach even 100 feet below the Mount Everest, still you are considered incomplete. You have to reach the topmost point of Mount Everest. Then you are saying you have scaled Mount Everest. So similarly, real honor is to be honored for your devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Somebody is recognizing then that is the topmost honor. So, Kashyapa is saying that he is the topmost of the topmost devotees. He will be recognized like that. And naturally, when you are recognized, then automatically you will have here it is being mentioned two aspects, expanded intelligence and expanded influence. Expanded intelligence and expanded influence. So anybody who achieves that devotional status, he will be very intelligent and he will be very influential also. Because the devotee of the Lord will be blessed with all the attributes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is all intelligent, Krishna is all influential, Krishna is all power, Krishna is all fame, he is Sadaishvara Purna, he is full with 6 opulences. So when somebody becomes a pure devotee of the Lord also bestows on him all the Shadaishwaryas, all the 6 opulences of the Lord. Naturally, he is there in the devotee. Sometimes people are wondered. As devotees, Prabhupada used to always encounter that how devotees are blessed with everything. Although they do not have a stable income of their own, they do not have a home, they do not have anything that what materialists plan and produce for their well-being. In a devotee's life, everything is very, very unplanned. But yet we see in a devotee's life, if he is practicing properly Krishna consciousness, there won't be anything lacking. He experiences a very opulent life. Very, very rich people also cannot even imagine leading a life like how a devotee can lead. So much of space and freedom that devotee has. Unbelievably opulent. He can sit down. If he chooses, he need not go to work. He can go late, he can go early. Who has this? In the material world, everybody is in a rat race, running. They have to be on time, they have to go there, they have to finish there. So much tasks are there. For a devotee, he also has tasks, but he is not burdened by the tasks. He is not overwhelmed. He is not dictated by the task. He has the task. He has to complete a task. So you see the opulence of freedom is naturally bestowed on a devotee. And that's bestowed because he has to willingly, by choice, he has surrendered to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as that is there, Krishna keeps the devotee in great, free from the chains, free from shackles of material existence. That is the biggest opulence. Not to be bound by anything. Material world, everybody is bound by something. If you want money, yes, you will get money, but for getting money, you have to bind yourself to many things. You cannot get away from the bondage. That is material reality. Spiritual reality is you are free from bondage. Because Krishna is Swarat, Krishna is free. So if you touch Krishna, you also experience freedom. Material world means no freedom. You are bound. You are bound by the chains of actions and reactions. That is karma. Karma means what? Karma means action. That the nature of karma is it is bound by reactions and actions. It can be good, bad, ugly, whatever. It has some reaction. Whereas a devotee, he doesn't have, he is akarma. No reaction, reactionless. So he experiences real freedom. So among these devotees, the greatest of the great, Mahanubhava Mahatam Mahishtaha, the greatest of the great, that is Prahlad Maharaj. How much of freedom he is experiencing? When there is no freedom, you feel suffocated. You feel frustrated. You feel tired. Free from all these things, full of energy, full of vitality. That experience you can get only when you are on a spiritual platform. So, the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada is saying, what are the different levels of devotion? Saying here, Prabhupada points out some technical aspects. Prabhupada says, 3 stages of transcendental development in devotional service, which are technically called Sthayi Bhava, Anubhava and Mahabhava. Continual perfect love of Godhead is called Sthayi Bhava. And when it is performed in a particular type of transcendental relationship, it is called Anubhava. But the stage of Mahabhava is visible amongst the personal pleasure potential energies of the Lord. It is understood that the grandson of Diti, namely Prahlad Maharaj, would constantly meditate on the Lord and reiterate his activities. Because he would constantly remain in meditation, he would easily transfer himself to the spiritual world after quitting his material body. Such meditation is still more conveniently performed by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. This is especially recommended in this age of Kali. So if we could divert our attention from so-called material activities to spiritual activities, and Prabhupada is saying that spiritual activity is what? It is said that chanting and hearing the holy name of Lord Hari. So if we can shift our attention from so-called fruitive activities to chanting and hearing of Krishna's holy name, then the same levels of spiritual attainment we can get. We can attain that kind of platform. That is Sthayi Baba, Hanu Baba, Mahababa. These are all very, very high levels of devotional achievement. Very high levels of devotional achievement. But Prabhupada is saying here that such meditation is still more conveniently performed by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. This is especially recommended in the age of Kali. So the only thing that is required for us is to put all our efforts, all our strength, all our energy in trying to perform this very simple activity of our japa, of sankirtana, of associating ourselves completely immersed in hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. If somehow or the other we can do that, that's why Shastra is also saying, Ena kena mana krishna niveshayet. Ena kena prakarena mana krishna niveshayet. Somehow or the other, ena kena prakarena. Somehow or the other we should engage our mind in remembering Krishna. And how can we engage our mind? Simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. No, that is the verdict of the Shastra. Somehow we don't develop that faith. We feel no, some spiritual realization means something more dramatic, something more kind of a thing in our mind. We have these kind of things. So we do not develop the faith. We want to do some gymnastics. We feel how can just by Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. How can we achieve the highest perfection of everything that is possible? You know, people are doing rockets, people are doing so many things, so much effort they are doing. They are building so many things. And you are saying just sit and chant and do this and then you will achieve everything. How it is possible? It appears too simplistic. It sounds so, when somebody, just imagine, like for example, somebody is in this material world, you see how much people are working so hard to achieve so many things in this material world. Day and night they are working. Engineers are working, scientists are working, doctors are working day and night. So much effort they are doing. Right? They are all in pursuit of achievement, in pursuit of making this world better. They are doing so much of work. The Prime Minister is flying. President is going so much of effort. But if you see, when we read the Bhagavatam, it is saying the highest perfection, the most highest level of achievement that one can achieve is by simply sitting chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So somebody who is like that, when they hear this, they'll freak out. What is happening? How is it possible? You are telling you live up or give up more than any scientist working, more than so many financial experts, doctors, engineers, politicians, all these people, more than anything. You are saying the person who is able to sit and chant, he is the greatest. He is the greatest contributor for society. As per Bhagavatam, yes. As per Srila Prabhupada, that is the best way. Now, to try and convince this very profound truth to so-called complex Kali Yuga Jivis is next to impossible. In fact, even devotees, we ourselves are not convinced is to that degree. That simply we can chant, hear Krishna's katha and we can achieve the highest. But we are still not convinced. We still have doubts. No, we have to do other things. So many other things. In fact, when Srila Prabhupada was asked, what is the secret of your success? After Prabhupada established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness with centers all over the world, thousands of disciples, lot of money, success, fame, everything Prabhupada achieved. At that time, somebody asked Prabhupada, what is the secret of your success? So Prabhupada had only one simple answer. Prabhupada said, the faith in the holy name and the faith in my Guru. Only two things. I had full faith that I will chant Hare Krishna and I will have full faith in my Guru's words, my Guru's instructions will motivate me to continue and serve and success will be assured. And it happened. Prabhupada is a personal proof of how Guru and Krishna's holy name works. Prabhupada had no big Harvard degree. He is not any big scientist, not a very big businessman, not a big pravachan giver, not very intellectual. In the mundane sense, of course, Prabhupada is the greatest intellectual. But if you see, but yet, Prabhupada revolutionized, transformed people lives. Young people gave their lives to Srila Prabhupada. That even 50 years post ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada, after he left the planet itself, is more than 40 years now. So, still the message of Prabhupada, the instructions of Srila Prabhupada is able to guide thousands of people all over the world, irrespective of what caste, creed, religion, language, country, society they belong to. That is because that is the power of a spiritual process. Material processes are very, very limited. They are conditional. If this condition is there, then that material thing will work. That is matter. There are ifs and buts for material successes to happen. But for spiritual success, there are no ifs. That's why they say, any spirit, your spiritual practice cannot be checked by any situation, by any time, place, circumstances, has no influence over spiritual activity. No matter where you are, how you are, what you are, spirituality, spiritual process works. Material process doesn't work. Just like you see a firecracker. A firecracker is very, if you light a firecracker, boom, it goes and so many colors it can create. But if it rains, the same firecracker becomes useless. Doesn't work in water. Similarly, in this material world, if you see every aspect, there will be an if. There will be an if. Firecracker works, but if there, it should not touch the water. So if you take every aspect of material world, everything you will find it will work, but there is also an if. But for spiritual activity, there will be no ifs or buts. It is independent of ifs and buts. It can act in any circumstances, any time, any place. It is beyond time, place, and circumstance. So somebody who has built his life on that platform, he is considered to be the greatest achiever. And here, the reference to Prahlad Maharaj by Kashyapa to telling Diti that you will get a grandson who has made achievement on that platform. Nobody can disturb him. Any situation you put him, he is always cool, calm. It will not make him disturbed at all. You can see that's the life of Prahlad Maharaj. Any situation is different situations his father tried. He tried to burn him, he tried to drown him, he tried to throw him, smash him, everything he tried. Every trick in the world, Hiranyakashipu adopted to try and disturb Prahlad. But he was not disturbed at all. That is the nature of soul. The second chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita we have heard, Krishna is saying the nature of spirit. What is the nature of the soul? Krishna is saying that no, the soul cannot be cut, the soul cannot be na hanyate anyamane sharire. Nothing will touch the soul's in any way. It will not affect the soul in any other way. See? Avyaktoyam achintyoyam. See, Krishna is describing the nature of the soul. Krishna is saying, Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadeva viditvanam viditvainam nanushochitam harasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, immutable and unchangeable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for this body. That is the nature of the soul. It is invisible, inconceivable, immutable and unchangeable. Achedyoyam adayoyam akledyo shoshayevacha nitya sarvagatasthanu achaloyam sanatanaha. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, all-pervading, unchangeable, immovable and eternally the same. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can he be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. You see, many times when you go and many people quote great statements by famous personalities. People quote Lincoln, people quote Gandhi, people quote Kennedy. So many, all these people, different people's quotes they quote. And when you read those quotes, it appears to be very inspirational. Right? Helen Keller, that blind lady. Sometimes when we hear quotes how they overcame great challenges in their own life, they achieved so much. So, it acts as an inspiration for all of us also, that how those people's quotes. But if you actually see, none of those quotes, although they may in material estimation you can grant them that there is some level of inspiration in those quotes. But yet, those quotes on a material platform, they may be inspirational, but it is not absolute. Whereas if you see these quotes, what Krishna is saying about the spirit soul, about the Atma, it is completely on a different level altogether. It's totally different level altogether. It's a totally different level altogether. So if we are able to get inspired by the words of Lord Krishna talking about spiritual existence, then we are going to be motivated at a much higher level from these so-called mundane material achievers. Because all these so-called achievers, like Srila Prabhupada's simple logic, where is Gandhi now? Where is Lincoln now? Where is Kennedy now? They have achieved so much, but you see, that is a material reality that Kala takes away all of these people. But they cannot say, when we come to the spiritual platform, no. Krishna is saying, the spirit, acchedyoyam, akledyoyam. And then Krishna is saying, when somebody sees the spirit, how do they see it? Ascharyavat pashyati kachchidenam, ascharyavat vadati tadeva chanya, ascharyavat chainam anyashrunoti shrutvapyenam veda na chaiva kaschit. How does great people see this? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So this is the nature of the soul. This is the nature of the soul. And any activities performed on that platform, he is a different level altogether. So Prahlad was that kind of a person who acted on that spiritual platform constantly. And hence, he will have that transcendental ecstasy. And due to that, he is not going to come back. Niveshya vaikuntam imam vihasyati. Here it is being said that Niveshya vaikuntam imam vihasyati. That, which means that he will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material body. He will not come back to this material world. So Bhagavatam is taking us to that stage, not to some mundane material so-called levels. The highest stage. We'll stop here if there's any question, comments. Yeah, exactly that same Krishna is saying, no, there are different kind of people. Prabhupada also is no more when they say what we are talking about is not the body of Prabhupada. They are only seeing the body of Prabhupada. Right? Yeah. Yeah. You can only convince on the platform of spirit. The question that people ask like this is because there is no knowledge of spirit. There is no recognition of Atma. There is only recognition of the body. People ask these kind of questions. But yes, you are saying Gandhi is not there, Kennedy is not there, Lincoln is not there, they're over. So Prabhupada is also over. That's because They have no recognition of the Atma. So the only way we can engage with such kind of people is to bring in the idea of Atma. But like Krishna himself says, that Atma is not everybody will accept. Like for example, Krishna is saying here, Ascharyavat pashyati kashyadenam. Some look on the soul as amazing. Ascharyavat vadati tajaiva chanyaha. Some describe him as amazing. Ascharyavat chainam manyashrunoti. And some others hear of him as amazing. But shrutvap yenam vedana chaiva kashyat. It's saying that while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So there are different categories of people. What can be done? So if somebody is there, if we want to explain about how Prabhupada's contribution never dies, or the personality of Prabhupada never ends, because we are talking on a spiritual platform, we can explain to them, but then everybody will be able to understand. Why they are not able to understand? Because they are so overwhelmed by the mind, body and senses and false ego. Bad karma. Simply said, it's bad karma. That they are not able to recognize the soul. So, there is no other way. Just like for example, the example of Indra, when he was cursed to become a pig, Narada Muni tried engaging with him. But you see, in that pig's body, he's got used to it, so he's not able to understand. So then they say, kill him. So Mrityu is actually not a punishment. Mrityu is a chance for us to restart our life. Just like for example, we say begin a new life. Begin and you forget, your old chapter is over. You come back. So death actually enables you to forget your old life. It gives you a new option. Take up new life. But then again, Maya is such that you again go into another, you give a new chance, and you, like for example, somebody was telling me that they had one family story, but it is relevant to what point I want to make right now. So there was one family, 3 sisters and 1 brother. So the brother was a deer because he was the only son, all the 3 girls. So he was very loud and things like that. So somehow that brother, when he became big, he got into bad habits, drinking. So he got into alcoholism. And then he was working in the army. And in army, they supply free booze. So you get even more addicted to all these kind of things. Very subsidized. So then finally he became so alcoholic, army people got fed up, they threw him out. He would create ruckus and all those kind of things. They threw him out. So then he came outside. Outside also he is doing the same kind of a thing. Then he was married and he would beat his wife and so many things like that. So then finally his life was such miserable thing. And he was down in the dumps. Then his one sister brought him to her house, and started getting him treated in this de-addiction center kind of a thing. And then she was trying to, best as a sister, she was trying to help him. Then one day, this fellow, the sister who was helping from her house, all the jewelry he stole. And he ran away. So somehow the point that I am trying to say is that the sister brought that brother to his house to give a new life. But yet, his old habits are so difficult to give up. So he again did the same thing, and then again he got into some kind, and then finally he ended up committing suicide. So that's where it ends. You know where it is going to end, right? So this is the way in which living entities also behave. Krishna gives us new life, and then we with the hope that we forgot our past, let us make a new beginning. But again, your past baggage, karmas, your vasanas are still there. Subtle mind, when you go to a new body also, you change your body, but your subtle mind, intelligence, ego is still there. Along with the soul, your mind, intelligence and false ego doesn't go. So that mind, intelligence and false ego, although you are in a new body, it tries to push you into that direction. Unless and until you take shelter of a spiritual master, it is very difficult for you to give up all these kind of anarthas. The only hope is if you get a proper spiritual master, then there is hope. But yet, even if you get the spiritual master also, you have to be willing to follow the spiritual master. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So, we have to talk about the soul and hope that that fellow will get it. But if he doesn't get it, what can be done? I think Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srilaprabhupada ki.